Hello and welcome back to AIBC Summit. So I'm joined today at Bataan here in the Philippines with Emmanuel Pineda, the Administrator of AFAB. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you.
The pleasure is all mine. So to start off, could you take a moment to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit of your background and your job as the Administrator of AFAB.
Okay, I'm have been involved with ecozone development in my previous jobs, including a stint with one of the leading property developers and maintenance in the country. And it was very fortunate that I was tapped by the local officials of Bataan when the former Bataan economic zone was converted into the Freeport Area of Bataan, knowing very well that I had experience on both sides of the fence, from being a locator to being the regulator, from the private sector employment with locator companies, and then eventually being part of the PEZA team, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. I was once an economic zone manager under the PEZA. So that said, I was taken in by the AFAB as the new governing body of the Freeport Area of Bataan, as the deputy for operations. And then after the term of the first chairman and administrator, I was appointed by President Duterte as his successor, the next chairman and administrator. That was 2016. And in 2019, the amendatory charter of AFAB was enacted, sponsored by Congressman Joet Garcia. Aside from strengthening the powers and functions of the AFAB, it provided for the separation of the chairman and the administrator as two separate individuals. So I was retained as the administrator. I'm still the presidential appointee, but we selected from among the other directors of AFAB who will be the new chairman. So we now have our new chairman, Attorney Pablo Gangcayco.
All right. And what is AFAB's vision for Bataan?
Well, first, it's the AFAB is one with the province, and if I may say so, with the country, to provide inclusive growth. So we're looking at every Bataeño to enjoy higher life development index, better access to job, better health services, better education. And we believe that the provision of stable and good paying jobs will be necessary to ensure the continuous improvement of quality of life among Bataeños. And that's precisely the mandate of AFAB, to invite investors for the creation of employment opportunities. So we want every Bataeño to have quality life.
And GTX here is the perfect platform to do so. What really interests you about the GTX?
Well, for the longest time, we have been competing with many other economic zones and free ports, not only in the country, but in the region and even globally. We have locators from Poland, from Europe, and of course from the neighboring Asian countries. And we are sort of having to offer similar incentives packages. So we feel that we need to be set apart from the other investment promotion agencies. And GTX, the project GTX of IWAR, came at a perfect timing when we could set the IPA, which is AFAB, separate from the others by providing access to global trading, digital trading, considering that everybody now is restricted in mobility, even there are also pain points with respect to regulations being implemented by government and other jurisdictions. These were all exacerbated by the pandemic. So with the GTX platform of IWAR, we now have an edge over the other IPAs, since we will be making the promotion or the availability of financing and loans for capital from prospective developers and locators and businesses. It will be available and very accessible. So one thing investors need really is access to capital and funds. And the GTX platform precisely offers these services on a digital basis, which is very accessible globally. The only thing that we want to clarify is this will not be available among Filipinos. The services of GTX, the use of GTX, is only possible for non-Filipino individuals and non-Filipino corporations or companies. In fact, the GTX platform does not allow transactions in peso currency. So it's like the rest of the world will be enjoying the benefits of GTX, but the Philippines will not.
What an irony.
Yes. And how I wish there could be matching local legislations to allow that also.
How far are we from implementing the law passing Filipinos to be able to use this platform?
Well, I think I will be banking on the usual support of our local legislators, but this is not just local to Bataan. It has to be a concerted effort of our legislators of the entire country, because we're looking at accessing to funds being available to Filipinos, not only Bataeños.
Well, it seems that you're getting help from GTX in improving the overall lifestyle here in Bataan, but how is AFAB exactly helping the GTX?
Well, GTX is enjoying first the incentives package, because not only GTX, but those that will be transacting using the GTX, that will be required to get a license from the AFAB or to locate physically in the Freeport area of Bataan, they will be enjoying income tax holidays and preferential tax treatments. But on top of that, what's important for GTX is they have the legal basis to do all these things, which is unique. I think I'm sure about its uniqueness insofar as the country is concerned, the Philippines. We are the only investment promotion agency that has embodied in our charter the legal basis to register and allow and regulate businesses involving technology and other new businesses. And we're the only investment promotion agency that has officially been recognized and allowed by the Philippine government to do so. So that means that the AFAB will be able to protect and help GTX regulate its business, and that they will be ensured of the legitimacy of their transactions and their businesses.
And so what makes Bataan the ideal and the leading investment destination?
Well, there are several ingredients in order for a specific jurisdiction or destination to be really attractive for investors. And I can confidently say that we have a very strategic location. We are at the center of the three most dynamic regions of the Philippines, the National Capital Region, Central Luzon, and the Southern Tagalog region. Considering that in the near future, we would be even physically connected to the Southern Tagalog region through the Bataan-Cavite Bridge that is now under its final design stage and will be bid out for construction first quarter of next year. On top of that, we have the sound legal basis, especially with emerging technologies and businesses as basis for us to register and regulate. And the good thing also is not only on the local scenario that we have a strategic location, Bataan is right beside the Belt and Road highway, where, as the governor mentioned during his speech earlier, there's a $1 billion cost of trade that using that route. And we are the only free port in the Manila Bay area. And in fact, with the Bataan-Cavite Bridge, it now becomes even more feasible and viable that we operate an international seaport, because since we are a free port, unlike Manila, which is not a free port, we can now have a logistics hub where goods can freely flow, tax and duty-free. And from Bataan, you can readily access all other key destinations in Asia and the world, because we are very strategically located right at the West Philippine Sea, at the center of the region, of ASEAN region, and very accessible to other foreign destinations and foreign ports. So, and in Bataan, as you would notice, national agencies, together with the local government leaders, they are always on the same page. We are always on the same page. We always talk, we always collaborate, we plan out. In fact, Bataan has a 100-year plan for development. And this brings us together, and this vision unites us in our efforts to really help each other so that we can help our locators. So because of that, I think we really we are really one of the, if not the best destination for investments.
Well, you mentioned
Modesty aside.
well, you mentioned there's a 100-year plan, future plans for Bataan. Do you mind sharing with some of those?
Well, I would rather that the honor be given to the governor, because he's the prime mover for this 100-year plan. But one important aspect there is the plan to ensure availability of surface water, of water supply, tapping on surface water by building dams that will contain all surface runoff. So we eventually we can stop drilling deep wells and preserve nature. Water table won't be affected, but water will be available to everyone without endangering the water supply underground. And it would even prevent flooding and destructive actions coming from very, very hard torrential rains. So everything will be captured and contained, impounded, and eventually used as bulk water supply to be distributed. So that's one of the grand plans for the 100-year plan.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for disclosing that with us. What an impact you're making into Bataan and to the world. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for joining us at the AIBC Summit.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And again, I would like to take the opportunity to really tell everybody, those out there, outside the Philippines most especially, that here in the Freeport area of Bataan, complemented by the solid support of the local government, even the national government, we are a GOCC, a government-owned and controlled corporation, together with all the other stakeholders, and in particular, very fortunately to be the host of GTX and IWAR. I think we can provide assistance and great help to investors who would need access to capital and funds to further their businesses. We're looking at not only so-so funds or capitalizations, but this is big-time access to big-time loans and capitals through the GTX. And you're looking at a global trading exchange that's beyond limitation. So it has very, very vast potentials and very vast capabilities, which is regulated by law. That's one thing that's very important, regulated by law. We see to it that every control is in place, anti-money laundering, the anti-money terrorism. So everything is in place as embodied in our implementing rules and regulations. So we invite everyone to be part of the fabulous family, the Freeport Area of Bataan.
Well, we're here to support you all the way. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Pineda, for your time today.